Welcome to Band Bourbon and Cigars, where we discuss marching band stories and life situations. I'm your drum major of the podcast, Mr. Reggie. We also have The Rock. The Rock is in the house. Mr. Herb Lenore up in here. And yes, ooh, shimmery shine, baby. This is a superstar in the making, Miss Fancy Flo. That's right, ladies. Hey, ladies, don't forget to get your hula hoop on, get that weight down, get that thing ready for next year, for next summer. You understand what I'm saying? This is the time. Hey, people, listen, we have a great guest today. When I say this guy is 100, this guy is 100. It's one of my favorite bros right here. This guy right here is born and raised, born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. Became a member of Kappa Psi, Iota Mu chapter, the Masters of Motivation, National Honorary Band Fraternity at the award-winning Kentucky State University. Oh, by the way, that's tail dog too. We're talking to a tail dog, a real tail dog. You understand what I'm saying? He marched drum major with the triple X squad. Let me get that right. The triple X squad. I'm going to find out why they call themselves the triple X squad. Yeah. He's a proud member of the Beta Mu Strong Arm chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Proud husband, father, and grandfather. Wait a minute. Grandfather? This cat younger than me. Okay. But he's also a soulful minister of the gospel for the past 11 years. I give to you not the only, but the one, Mr. Hold on. Let me do it right. Drum roll, please. Mr. Maverick.
What's happening?
Welcome.
Awesome intro. Man. Awesome intro.
Come on, man. You know the drum major got to do it right.
Hey, got to be right. Got to be right.
If the intro ain't right, everything else looks sloppy.
Yeah, we got to start all over.
Right.
From the top. We got to start it all over from the top.
So now I want to know. They was called the Triple
from
X
the top,
Squad?
running back.
Yeah.
They were called the Triple X Squad?
Yeah.
Triple X. What is that?
No, we just going to open up with that. Tell us about that.
All our names started with X's. So my name was X-rated. Sam's name was explicit. And and Ron's name was executive. So
why does that sound different. Like the more devious one?
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, we are all our names started with X. So that's where that triple
X
came
very creative.
From. Nothing too crazy, as most people think.
Yeah, they were some hard head drum majors though. They were hard head.
Here we go.
So Reggie mentioned in your introduction that you are a member of KK Psi Fraternity and also Alpha Phi Alpha. Can you specify the reason behind you chose those two organizations to join?
Well, coming from Cincinnati, I didn't grow up in the band community like some of my friends that were, from Detroit. They had a whole band community, like high school, middle school. They used to tell me all these things, but when I got to Kentucky State, I was instantly, so enthused that the band had its own fraternity. So, I was already interested in Alpha coming into school, but the fact that the band had its own, its own fraternity, had its own, and it was an honorary. The difference between Alpha and Kappa Psi is, and not to downplay membership for Alpha, but anybody can be an Alpha. If you get the GPA and you have some extracurricular activities, you can join. Pay the money, you can join. Well, with Kappa Psi, even though it was within the confines of the band, you had to be chosen.
I didn't know that.
It wasn't about just having the grades. It wasn't about just being in the band. It was very more exclusive. It's an honorary band fraternity. It wasn't for everybody. So it was very special. That's
interesting. I had no idea that it was by pretty much
I always tell people, man. Oh, yeah.
Listening, Reggie.
Oh, yeah. is also, I tell people, man, is actually harder to me, in my opinion, to get into Kappa Kappa Psi, because number one, you have to be able to play an instrument or be affiliated with the marching band some type of way, right? Which means you got to read music, all that kind of stuff, right? That's a complex part of it. Then you have to make the band. Just because you come to a band room don't mean that you're gonna be in the band. Don't mean that you get the marks, because if you ain't got the skills, you got the dedication to it, you ain't gonna get there. Then you got to make your section. You know what I mean? Which is, hey, your section is something different, because you got to be able to get there. You the upper notch of leadership in there, and being able to play your instrument. You see what I'm saying? And then there's that invite to Kappa Kappa Psi. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot steps you got to get through first before you, and we're constantly watching you. Yeah, we're constantly watching what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I learned something new today. So I want to shift gears just slightly a little bit. I see we have questions here about, well, specifically, what are your views on incorporating the concept of separation of church and state into student curriculum? And then also, should spiritual or faith-based elements be reintroduced into educational settings? So that question is twofold.
So separation of, say it again.
So let me rephrase. What are your views? Let's do one part first. What are your views on incorporating the concept of separation of church and state into student curriculum?
It depends. I've seen it in places where it worked well. I've also seen it in places where it don't work well. So I think it's one of those situations where it couldn't be the same in every aspect. For example, like with HBCUs, and just like Reggie was talking about going into the band program, it's certain things that work better in certain places, and it's certain things that don't work the same way in different places. So it can't be a one size fit all. You have to kind of play it by ear, read the room of the people that you have in the different demographics. Just like bringing it back to HBCU, the band community in Cincinnati, completely different in Detroit. A lot of stuff the stories I heard about how they did the band programs in Detroit, it wouldn't have went like that in Cincinnati. But it was because of the environment and how people were enriched and how it was introduced, and really the community, the type of people. So that's my answer.
So it sounds like you're saying that based on, it almost was like the way that we run the band programs in Detroit fit the needs of the people.
Right.
So the needs of the people in Cincinnati will be different. So they need theirs to be kind of doctored a little bit to fit their need.
Right.
Am I paraphrasing correctly? Okay.
No, that's right. And the popularity as well. Like marching band in Cincinnati, it has its ups and flows, but it's nowhere near the magnitude of how it is in Detroit.
Reggie, what are your thoughts on that?
So what's your idea though of when we talk about church and state? That's the thing of that they don't want you to talk about God in schools, right? Or talk about religion in school. Do you think that it should be in schools? You know what I'm saying? And do you think that they should bring it back?
I absolutely think they should bring it back. Maybe not in a grand scheme like math or English, but it's a part of everything, every walk of life. Even when to get to college, we have something called, we had IGS, Integrated Studies. It was a study of all the religions. So it's kind of, I think it should be at least an introduction of, hey, this is what's out there. And then per your family or your personal belief, then you pick and choose. But I think it definitely should be an introduction, and it should be something that should be talked about just as well as everything else.
Now that we just said that, I wonder how difficult that would be, because you do have so many different religions out here and different beliefs. Saying, how would you introduce that into a classroom setting, saying, without stepping on the toes of somebody else's religion? In my classes throughout the year, I do a kind of an introduction of certain things or certain religion, but I don't make it a pinpoint that this is what it is. Saying, like Hanukkah might come up, I might have some pictures of read some books about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or so we might do a Play-Doh game or something like that. They don't. I
Mm-hmm.
don't ever discuss what it is, but it's just giving them something like those that in that they'll know what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'll
And
know
they'll
what I'm
feel
doing.
appreciated
Or
and
like
valued, I'm
Christmas.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put
It's
a Christmas tree up, but I'll be like, we're gonna do a book exchange or something.
right. No, it's definitely like that. I think that it would be best of not quantifying of this is right and this is wrong. But hey, some cultures
Yeah.
celebrate these holidays in this religion. Some cultures, because a lot of it is connected to the cultures. So that I
Hmm.
think that I would lean more towards that of hey, certain cultures they do this religion and these holidays. These certain culture, as you talk about the diversity of cultures, different cultures, they specify or they lean in on certain religions and certain holidays that's connected to that. So that would be a good avenue and a bridge way to bridge that gap as a means to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a couple of ideas. I just thought like maybe it could, like if I were in the classroom again and I were trying to start the school year off, maybe having an open discussion about religion so everybody can express what they do know, what they don't know, whatever their religious beliefs are, if they have any. And then maybe together as a class, we could discuss how we want to celebrate everybody's.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's just a random thought I just had just
Right.
now, but that's a good idea. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that before.
Now the red tape of it is, we have to be the consent of the parents. You know, even working in early childcare, you have to be able to be able to present it in a way where parents don't feel threatened by it. And then
Yeah.
you're gonna have those parents that are like, hey, I don't want my child to participate because I don't want my child to maybe know these things yet, or I want to be able to tell them in a
Okay.
certain way. So you have to respect definitely when it comes to the parents.
Yeah.
That would be the only red tape that will come with that. That's a good
Yep.
question.
And that's probably why they don't talk about it because it's just, yeah, a lot of variables.
Right.
Yeah, that was the exact reason why they took it out of the schools.
Mhm.
Or they took that out of the schools because you did have those parents complaining about that exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was actually the next question. Should spiritual or faith based elements be introduced into educational settings? And yeah, as a parent, I have no objection to it, but I'm not everyone's parent, you
Right.
know? So yeah.
I believe
Hmm.
it. I believe it's better. As an early childhood educator, I've been in centers that were just kind of regular, and then I've been in centers that were faith based, and it's a lot of the Christian walks are believed in it, and a lot of things are implemented. Like they even pray with their food. Some of the stories and some of it is weaved into some of the curriculum, and I may be biased, but I think it's a better look.
I
Yeah.
think
I
that
Just some
if
mean,
of
you are
even
a
just
additional.
like
parent, I think that if you
go
are a
ahead.
parent that chooses one of those faith based institutions, you have to expect on some level for some of that to be introduced to your child. Like, for example, the
Right.
district that I work in is called, I don't even know if I can say it on here, so I won't, but they are a faith based Christian district, and it's in
Right.
the lining of the everything about the school, you know. A lot of times for me, I see a lot of contradictions as far as how leadership presents certain things. But it wasn't until just now I just remember that they do have a faith based lining and woven into like the core of the institution and things like that. So I think that it started off that way, but now it's just kind of falling by the wayside. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. Herb, you want to chime in on that?
Yes and no. Reason why I say yes and no, because the beliefs of different people is totally different. And reason why I say that is the USA itself as a whole. The learning and teaching and the curriculum that a lot of teachers give students are totally based off different things, and so it's hard to explain. So reason why I say it's hard to explain is because there's a lot of stuff that's messed up in this world, period, as a whole.
True.
And what I'm saying is it's hard to explain. It really is. And I don't want to get off into the whole political uh, 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 debate about, the beliefs of the United States, and the different faiths, because there's a lot of different faiths out there. There are a lot of different things a lot of people believe in. I mean, everything's not Christianity, everything's not Buddhism, everything's not what's that Scientology or whatever it may be. Everybody
Mhm.
has their own beliefs. Um, and then for school to focus one belief on that child, I don't feel that's right, because there's different countries that's coming over to the United States, and now they're forced to learn this, but that's not what they were raised in. So it's just something different. That's all. I try to stay away from a lot of political and faith based arguments, because everything's a little bit different and sometimes one sided or black and white. That's all.
Mm.
I think that
Yeah.
faith-based discussions um, are never black and white because it is hugely based on the experience of the individuals in the conversation. And a lot of times, people in these discussions, like you get people that are really just firm about their religious beliefs, and there's no wiggle room for them to hear anybody. And
Hmm.
and I think that that's what the biggest problem is. And I understand that some people feel that way; they're passionate about what they feel about, and that's fair. But
Hmm.
I feel like when we have discussions like this in this sensitive nature, we have to be at least open minded to hear from the other person. And a
Right.
lot of times with that topic, we aren't, because we want to believe the way we was raised and what we know is the fact, and everybody else is crazy. And that could be the case, but we don't know. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
And I
we
really
don't know
don't.
until,
I don't like people that's like that. Um,
yeah.
People that force stuff upon people. People that force their beliefs. Now that's taking it out of the faith thing. Let's say I believe in hamburgers. Hamburgers is life. You know what I'm saying? For a person that don't eat meat at all, me forcing this hamburger on somebody is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hmm.
Force feed somebody, hey man, you need to try this burger. I don't eat meat. Well, you just take a little bite of it. You might like it. You never know until you try it. That's just not my thing. I feel like that's wrong. So it's not just the faith part. It's more about the world itself. A lot of people
Hmm.
force a lot of stuff down people, and that's the thing I don't like. Let people choose what they want to
Yep.
choose. Let people believe in what they want to believe. They chose that route. Hey, I'm 100 with you. I'm
Hmm.
never a person to judge somebody on what they believe in, what their beliefs are. That's their life. Let them live their life. But again, I don't like getting into all that.
That's a perfect conversation. What you just said, Herman. You really just put that in great perspective, because that's how the
Hmm.
world is ran with that
Hmm.
thought process. What you have, especially in the
Hmm.
schools, the
Mm-hmm.
schools are like that now.
Yeah.
What has happened is that, saying that there was a time where we would try to get students to, okay, you don't like green beans, you don't like this, saying, at least try it, blah 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 blah, right? But now it's not that.
Mm-hmm.
It's that belief. What you just said is that child don't have to do that. You're
Hmm.
putting something on
Mm-hmm.
that child. But what has happened with that now is that children are more smarter than we were, and they get
Hmm.
it. So now they've taken that same concept and they added it to everything in their life. Well, I don't have to put on my shoes. I don't have to be a boy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be
They
a girl.
manipulate
I
it.
don't have
They
to
manipulate it.
listen to you. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? They manipulate the system now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
where's the fine line of, saying you're training up a child to become a great adult, to the point where now the children are really running the world. You know what I'm saying? The
Yep.
parents are afraid of the children, the teachers are afraid of the parents, and the children are running them up. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
that
Hmm.
attitude that's going on at a very young age, at a very young age, and they
Absolutely.
understand that concept. Now, I'm kind of both ways with it, because I am old school, but I am in this new era as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you should force anybody to do anything. You know what I mean? But I think there still should be a pecking order of, as an adult and as the leader in the room, hey, these are the things that we need to do to get done to get to this next point. But then at the same time, you got the students saying, well, if I don't want to do it, you can't make me. And they're right.
Well,
That mentality.
Yeah.
well, the thing
And I
that I
think that's
like,
when we use our words to be convincing.
yeah,
Mm.
You know, okay, you don't have to do what I'm asking you to do, but then the consequence is that you're going to fail this class. How are your parents
That's
going
the
to feel
part.
about that?
That's the
Right.
You
part.
know, you don't
But
have to sit down because I asked you to. However, the consequence, though, you know,
there is structure. You know, there should be always structure. You know, that's the main fault line of a lot of people's growth. You know, if there's no structure, then a lot of stuff does fall apart. So my thing is, the most important thing to me, is structure. If you don't have structure in your life, I mean, like stuff do just fall apart, and that's
Yeah,
what a
but
lot of people.
how can you have the structure if you're raised with no structure?
Right.
You're raised
they'll
you're
adapt to the
raised with
structure.
saying, yeah, I do what I want to do, and this is what I feel like I should be able to do, and you're able to do it.
And
But
I
think
don't.
about it, though. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hurt.
But no, you good.
I was just going
No,
to
you
say,
good.
think about it though, Reggie. We encounter many students in the classroom who do not have structure at home, but they become acclimated with the structure you set in your classroom, right? So they know, okay, at home, I don't have to do no homework. I don't have to do blah, blah, blah. I don't have a bedtime. But in this class, Mr. Anderson is expecting me to turn in my homework. He expected me to come in here like I got some sense. He's expecting. So you set the expectation and in the hopes that
Exactly.
it'll bleed into other areas of their life. You know, I
Exactly.
have students who didn't have a bedtime. How you don't have a bedtime? You in elementary school, you know. But you know, when you come into my building, don't come in here yawning and now you having a temper tantrum because you tired. Because the conversation I'm gonna have with mom is, hey mom, you know, a baby girl says she don't have a bedtime. Do you think maybe make her go to bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock? Let's see how that works for a week. And luckily, in my experience, I've been really good with speaking with parents and them not taking offense to what I'm saying. Although me
Hmm.
knowing what I'm saying is sensitive because I'm really about to tell you what you need to do with your kid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
hopefully you'll receive it because you see that it's coming from a place of concern, not judgment, you know.
Yeah.
But that's
But
that's a slippery slope.
we have a different it's a different stage and age of parenting. I remember when I was in school, my parents set the tone and then the teachers follow. Nowadays, the teachers set the tone and the parents follow. It was when
Yeah.
I was at school and my mama came and my daddy came, I tightened up. But now it's to the point where like I have my kids in line and their parents come and then they start acting crazy. I never forget I
Hmm.
had a little girl, 4-year-old little girl. We was having kind of like an open house shindig at my center, and I left. I was going to get some crafts or something, and I came back, and it's the little girl and her grandma. The little girl breakdancing, but she falling out, and I literally walked up like, and when I tell you that little girl got up so fast, and her mama and grandma looked at me, and she like, how you get her to do that? I don't let her do it. I tell her no. Like it's really simple. Like you can have
Hmm.
structure, you can have foundations and not be an evil person. I'm like I'm also not trying to be their friend. Like we
Right,
cool, but
That's
I'm not your
discipline.
friend.
That's
right.
discipline. I mean, people need discipline too. I
Yeah,
mean,
People
but
need
we
adults.
the
yeah.
parents steer away from because they trying to be friendly with their kids. Like I love my
Hmm.
kids and we friendly, but I ain't your friend
Yeah.
because you my dependent.
Mhm.
I claim you on
You
my
can't be my
taxes.
I can't be friends with somebody's dependent. We
Right.
not equal. Because if I'm your friend, then I look at you as an equal. And my
Mhm.
children, I love them to death, but we ain't equals.
Right.
Mm.
We not equals.
That's a good
Mhm.
analogy. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, you my dependent. Like I claim you on my taxes. We not equal.
We're not equal. Like I pay
Yeah.
taxes. You don't pay taxes.
Mm-mm. You don't pay bills.
Right.
That part.
You just in this house, just living.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You still got to follow the rules. But
Exactly.
it's so the thing is, it's more like listen to what I say, but I'm going to teach you reason why I'm telling you this. It's a reason why
Right.
you have to go to sleep at 7:30. There's a reason why you eat dinner at this time. There's a reason why you don't run in this house. There's a reason why you're not playing in the backyard. There's a reason why you're not running in the streets. There's a reason why you stay in the
Hmm.
house. There's a reason why you don't go outside with no clothes on when it's snowing -1 degrees outside. There's a reason to everything. If you don't explain that reason to that child,
Right.
they won't get in and continue to do what they're doing.
That goes back to what Maverick was saying, is that before parents were parenting and the
Oh yeah,
teachers
no,
was
I
just
agree with
reiterating what the parents were saying at home, and now it's flipped,
you. Yeah.
right? And our parents, I ain't gonna say all parents, we just speaking in just,
A lot of
you know,
parents.
saying don't know how to teach now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of teachers don't know how to teach, and a lot of people are just saying what you just said. Her, don't go outside with no clothes on, don't run in this house. Well, why not? I'm
Right.
a
And
believer.
they
You
take the
have to explain the
questioning
why.
as challenging when it's really the child
Yes.
just wants to understand, you know.
Well, you should teach them to understand, because that's what it is. They're children. They don't understand. Their
Right.
job is to just figure it out. They're figuring it out on their own, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't tell them or show them, you have to be able to teach it. You have to be able to explain it. I always give this analogy to some of my parents that asked that question, what Maverick was saying. How do you get them to do X, Y, Z? Like, listen, I've been in this game for 24 years, and I've never had to hit a child or whoop a child to get them to do what I need them to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And here's the analogy: not to call your child a dog, but if you had a puppy, you're going to train that puppy not to eat your shoes, not to piss on the floor, not to shit on the floor, and all that kind of stuff. You have to do the
Right.
same thing with your children. You have to train them in the way that you want them to be, or how not to be.
And
If you want
beating
them to
is
sit down
not
at
an
the table
effective
and eat at
trait.
the table, you have to train them. You have to show them. You have to model for them. There's many different ways of doing this concept of showing your child how to be the person that they should be, and not how they should be, but what you need them to be doing to stay safe.
Hey man,
Right.
I've used that analogy a lot. Even in relationships too. It sounds bad, but it's really not. Just like you just said, you training a dog. You train the dog not to go shit in the house. You train the dog not to piss in your house. You train the dog to sit. You train the dog to lay down. You train a dog to do a lot of different things. Now, in a relationship, you may not know you're doing it, but you're training your spouse to what you want to do. And it is vice versa. You know,
Mm-hmm.
women train dudes, take the trash out, take the trash out, take the trash out, take the trash out. That trash is sitting there, grab it, take it out. Women train dudes not to throw your clothes on the floor. They constantly keep saying it. So there's always different training that you don't realize you're getting trained, but you're getting trained. It's the same thing that goes back to children. If you don't train them the right way, like Reggie said, they're gonna do what they want to do until they figure out what they're doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what you're really talking about is setting expectations.
Exactly.
These are my expectations. These are
Exactly.
my
Mm-hmm.
guidelines. These are
Mm.
my parameters. And I'm not bending on
Mm-hmm.
them. My
Right.
expectation
Mm-hmm.
is, hey, when we come in the classroom, we sit down, crisscross applesauce, and then we wait until we do what we're going to do next. The expectation is, even if thinking about relationally, hey, these are my expectations. Don't talk to me that certain way, type of way. I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm. Setting boundaries. It's setting
Mhm.
those
Mm-hmm.
boundaries and sticking to it.
absolutely.
And sticking to it. You have to set boundaries, man, because if not, people gonna break. And I tell them all the time, especially with children, they always looking for the crack in the wall. They are
Yeah.
the water. They looking for that crack, and as soon as you let up, they own you, and they gonna keep on going
Mm-hmm.
until they break. You know,
but
That's
but you got to think about it too. Us as kids, we did the same
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yep.
We tested
absolutely.
and tested and tested and tested and tested that limit so you couldn't test it no more. The thing is, parents were a little bit lenient on us too as kids because shit, we was outside what playing till the street lights
Street
came on.
lights. Mm-hmm.
We did everything. Um, but it was a little bit more lenient towards us. But we still tested, but we went in their face all day long either. Playing video
Right.
games, tablet, blah blah blah. We was outside more, enjoying the sun. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we definitely tested, and kids still do test to the day.
And the
Yeah.
expectation though was when those lights come on, you do what? You come in.
In the house.
Hey, that's
When
them
you're
rules
at
got
home
set.
by yourself, you don't do what?
Open the
Unlock the
door.
door. You don't,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So there were
Don't pull.
expectations set, you know. And I don't know if, I mean, it just was a thing when I grew up and my parents said, okay, I'm about to do X, Y, Z, don't do this. Okay. It was never, but that's because they had established already when I
Mm.
tell you do something, that's what you do. Reggie, I don't know if I think it was here I shared the story about my dad shooting that snake out the tree.
Mm-mm.
Remember that? I didn't share that story with y'all. When I was
Mm-mm.
about probably 8 or 9 years old, I
Coming
used
up
to,
with them,
so
don't you?
uh,
Nothing. Go ahead, baby. You
when I
good?
was about 8 or 9 years old, my dad is Ghanaian. We lived in West Africa. And I used to like to climb the trees and find a spot where I could read my books. And so my dad was calling me, calling me, calling me. And I shared this story with my son all the time because he's stubborn. And I heard him call me. I immediately got down off the tree and started walking to the house because dad's calling me, right? So as I'm coming to the house, he's coming out of the house. He passes me in the driveway. He says, "Go to the house." I said, "Okay." So I keep walking, but I'm looking back at him to see what he's doing. He walked straight to the tree I was just in with his Glock, fired off 2 shots. A snake fell down to the ground. So from inside that house, he saw or felt danger, I don't know, and started calling me out that tree. And now, had that been a time where I ignored him and said, "Oh, he don't want nothing," it could have cost me my life. And I
And
share that
that's
story with my son because I'll call him, call him, call him. He ignore me. I finally come in his room. "What the hell you doing?" He in the game. He's so engrossed in the game. Now I just shut the Wi-Fi off. He'd come upstairs. "Yes, mommy, you want me?" I don't even call his name. I just shut the Wi-Fi off. And he know mommy wants my attention.
yeah, he
You
does.
know.
Well, we had consequences. You talked about it earlier. There's a
Yeah.
consequence to it, right?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like in my classroom, all my students know year to year. I tell them, what's Mr. Anderson's first number one rule? What's my number one rule? What's my number? No, I said, what's my number one job? What's my number one job? To keep us safe. That's the number one job.
Mhm.
Is to keep you safe. Now, from safe, then we get to teaching and having fun. You see those?
Yeah.
But my number one job is to keep you safe. So whatever that is, so I need you to listen to me, and when I call your name, answer. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But those things, like I said, it has to be taught from home about
Yeah.
manners. And a lot of kids don't understand manners. They don't understand how to
They
say thank
don't.
you and yes sir, no ma'am, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna teach it in my classroom. I
Yep. You
never
say good
have.
morning. They don't respond. I'm like, "Good morning. Good
Oh
morning."
yeah, you can't come
"I'm
to my
sorry.
classroom
Good
until you say good
morning."
morning.
And
You
my
ain't coming
office
in
now
until
is in the high school. It's in our high school building. And I pass these kids that's towering over me. And they'd be cussing, cussing, cussing. I just look, they'd be like, "I'm sorry, ma'am." Then they'd be
Mm.
like, "What's your name? What do you teach here?" "I don't teach here, but you need to watch your language."
hmm
"Yes, ma'am." And then they go,
Hey,
I don't
that's
be
the
like, "What you in there?" I don't even come at them like that. I just be real. "Ooh, okay. You got spicy language this morning. Good morning." And they
respect.
immediately feel the need to apologize for their language. But I see other teachers going off. That's not necessary because you matching their energy.
Yep.
Right.
And teenagers, they gonna bring whatever energy you bring, they bringing it right back. I don't want that kind of exchange with these kids.
That respect level has definitely diminished a lot. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there was times when you see older, much older person, you say sir or ma'am. Yes sir, no sir. Respect that person around you. They don't do that no more. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see that often no more. I mean, but way we living in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Maverick,
But
I
we're
got a
gonna
question
shift.
for you, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna shift a little bit. Describe an experience involving one of the panel members.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Oh,
Oh, I got one. So
Just one?
I'm gonna tell one. So brother Herb over here, um, hmm,
I feel like I'm being picked
how
on.
how how free can we speak?
Freely as you
Free.
want, brother.
We're
Okay.
free as you want. We just ain't trying to put nobody in prison.
All right, no prison. So brother Herb, I'll never forget after I became a prestigious member of Kappa Kappa Psi National Honorary Band Fraternity. Herb would call us because we did a lot of our participating at his house. So afterwards, we deemed never even to go on that side of town no more. We had all our meetings at his house. So he would call us. He'd be like, "Hey, what's up? What y'all doing?" I'm like, "We chilling. Why y'all come to the house no more?" And we all look at each other like, "Who? Who come to who house? No, we're not coming. Nah, I got the game over here. Got some food." He
Hey,
would have to almost beg us to come over. We was not coming over there.
sounds familiar, flow, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
So
Yeah.
we've had this conversation before about me. Now the thing is, business is business,
Right.
personal is personal. When it's
Right.
business time, it has to be serious.
Mm-hmm.
Business is done, that's when you lighten up. So let's use an example. You go to work, you do all your stuff, In order to get your job done right, you have to be serious about it. If you play around with it, you will fail at your job. Business is business. When you leave work, you go home. Kids want to talk to you, show you the stuff they did. You smiling, you happy, you enjoying it. Your wife come talk to you. You're not as serious no more. It's personal. You believing in them. You talking to them. You let them know what's going on. How bad and terrible work was. Business. Now, go back to the story you just told. Business was at my house all the time.
Right.
We are off for the summer. Business has closed down. Now it's time to get personal and talk about what happened during business and
Right.
laugh and joke about it. But people don't never seem to understand that. So it was always given back to the people that made it that far through the business and understand the business. And it's time to show people that all this business was a reason to it to help them strive and do better in life, to understand what was going on. Now,
Right.
if you leave business as it is, you will never understand why that business was working and running. So
Right.
I invited you guys over all the time. Try to invite you guys over all the time.
Right.
That was the frat house. Reggie, remember, we did everything at that. We did
Right.
everything there. I mean, that's where everybody came to kick it. It was always there. So,
Right.
all we trying to do is just bring you into the fold. Hey, as I got older and started realizing that my efforts are going unnoticed, I just stopped.
Right.
Because I'm not going to force or constantly keep repeating, hey, come through, come through, come through.
Right.
If you don't want to do it, I'm not going to force nothing upon people. So, but at the same time,
But this,
bro,
but this was the thing, Herb. It wasn't personal, as in like about you. So imagine, to go with your analogy, you leave work and the job is the place.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So imagine it's a Saturday and there's something going on at the job. You still kind of like, all I know it as work. I don't really want to go there.
I get what you're saying.
So it wasn't about you personally. It was the setting of it.
Now,
a lot of business took place in this place.
Now,
I don't know if I feel comfortable to come back and be social in the place where I did a lot of business. Herb, let's go to Applebee's. Let's go to somebody else's house. It's the business. It's the address.
Have you ever had like a pizza party at your place of business or party? What you call it? What's the party? Christmas parties at your place of business.
That would be so weird.
But look, wait, not to cut you off. To think about it, we all probably been in a place where you had a business party. You don't really party at the business party. You party a little. Yeah, Reggie, but you one of one.
Christmas party once.
We all that goes without even. Look. That we all go. That's not even debatable. We know you one of one, but everybody else, it's only a level of partying you gonna do at the business party.
True. That's true. Because
versus
like,
if you
I'm not
off site,
my real stuff. Yeah,
unless you off site. We off site somewhere in a neutral place. Oh yeah, we gonna party, but at the business place have a party. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming, and I'm gonna show my face, but I ain't really.
I got one for you.
Comfortable.
I got one for you. So y'all didn't want to come over there because that's what business was at, because y'all was uncomfortable. So once business was closed, summertime was there, time to relax. Business picked back up again. Y'all show back that place of business. Why when y'all uncomfortable again?
Because we on the other side of business. Business is booming. It's a different type of business now. In my Reggie voice, it's different type of business, baby. I'm ready to do some business now. I'm on the other side of the table. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, absolutely. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm ready to do some real business now. I feel,
Yeah.
I'm the negotiator now. Pun intended. I'm negotiating.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. I'm the negotiator now. I ain't the one being negotiated. I'm doing They got the pen in my hand.
I'm doing the negotiating.
I
Okay.
got the vote. I'm
Right,
doing the invitations. You know, I'm on the couch.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, but that's
That's
real though. That's real.
You know, I don't think I ever questioned nobody's story, or even went back into nobody's story. This is Maverick's story.
Right.
But yeah, I can dig it. I'm with it. Life changed. We all good.
Mhm.
No hard
Mm,
feelings ever, ever, ever. Nobody in this world that I could think of has set me to the point where I just dislike them. You know what I'm saying? Like hate them. And that word hate is a very, 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 very,
very
very,
strong.
very strong word.
Hmm.
Um, so there's nothing that y'all did or anybody has done to make me say, "Oh man, I'm done with you." You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you do. You
Hmm.
know, to
And
that
that's why
point
it's
where,
good to have these type of.
yeah,
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
Herb. Go ahead.
no, you said you saying what you was about to say because it was right what I was about to say.
I
Go
would
ahead.
say that's why it's great to have these type of conversations, man. Because especially as young men and young women growing up, we only see our point of view of things,
Mm-hmm.
and if you
Hmm.
only can see your point of view, then you're not getting the full view. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
it's not until you sit down and have a conversation with people and talk with folks and stuff like that to understand their point of view. Uh, to me, that's what I understood what Hurt was trying to do is to,
Right.
say, so, say the next younger generation, as you coming into business, saying, what's the point of view? What was my point of view? Let me show you and help you understand why business was ran the way that it was ran. And that
Right.
way, once I pull back, because what I'm doing is showing you the business so that I don't have to continue to be around to run the business. That I'm putting in
Right.
your hands. Like you said, now you have the pen. But if it's
Hmm.
but we know the pen is powerful. That
Yeah.
pen is powerful.
Yeah.
And what you write and what you putting out there and what you don't do and what you don't write. Because if that paperwork ain't getting done, then business decease. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Ain't no business.
So you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, having that, that OG around and say, hey man, come on back and let me discuss with you, you know what I'm saying, and help you understand my point of view. And then you can say, hey, well, this is my point of view. Now there's a discussion there, but there can never be discussion if you never meet up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Man, that was beautiful right there, boy. I didn't know that was gonna go that way. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, we having
Y'all
frat
on the
therapy on
subject.
this. Hey,
It
man,
sounds
Yeah.
like it.
we just had
Yeah.
frat
Yeah.
therapy and
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like it.
shit. Yeah.
So, okay, looking back on your formative years, what guidance would you offer to your younger self? That's a question for everybody. We could start with Maverick.
Uh, Man, do it the same.
Do it the same.
So what? So as a father, I have three biological children, six altogether, and
Okay.
three additional children, five grandkids, four granddaughters, one grandson, and I actually got a bonus kid. So actually, I got seven kids, six grandkids with one on the way. But when I look at it
Wow.
in retrospect, I got to this place where, in retrospect, I feel like if I would have changed anything in my life and it changed anything about my life today, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything. When I look at my kids, my children, if I had a scholarship to go to Kentucky State, I had the same scholarship to go to Grambling. My whole life be different.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
My entire life would be different. If I would have tried to go to Bethune Cookman or, it's so many different intricacies of my life. If I change just a little bit,
Yeah.
my whole trajectory, my life changed. So I don't have no. I would tell that person keep the pace, keep the lane, stay in your lane, keep doing it. I wouldn't tell him anything different.
Hey, your response is exactly what I would have gave because the thing is, I wouldn't even approach my past self. Let him do what he do. The things we do lead up to the point we are in there now. I mean, like
Yeah,
one thing, like he said, one thing, even just going back and talking to your past self, we might not be sitting here talking right now.
It's a
Hmm.
fact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
For me, it would be going back to being open to other point of views.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because in my earlier years, it was my point of view. I felt like I was the only one in the world that went through what I went through.
mm,
Like you
Mm.
couldn't take that from me. I'm this way because I went through XYZ. You can't take that from me. You know what I'm saying? And whatever you done went through ain't shit compared to what I went through. All right.
right.
So my view was not the same. That's why me and Breeze will always have our heated debates. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm,
I couldn't see his view. You see what I'm saying? And even though he may have been able to see my view, I wasn't looking to see his view. I was just trying to get my view across. So then we
Mm.
were go at it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this is one of the bros fans when we had the podcast before we talking about that upside down house. I was talking to them about the
Okay.
foundation of life. And listen, they left. They went partying, had a good time. Came back. He was one. He said, "Man, y'all still arguing?"
Wow.
Hey, we was on it, man. We went for about 3-4 hours. About 3-4 hours on that. But yeah, man, that's what I would say to myself back in the day. What about
I
yourself?
think that I think that I would talk to my younger self about really being more disciplined and not just flying by the seat of my pants. I did a lot of that in my 20s. I know coming into high school, I was strategic, saying I want to go to King. I'm applying there, and I applied there, and I got in there. But as far as college went, I had plans. My parents had plans too, and I wasted a lot of time being angry with them because their plans were not what my plans were.
Mm.
You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
But I appreciate their plans now as a grown woman because there are things that they could see about me and about potential environments that would not have been a good mix. So I don't know if I would change
That's good.
anything, but I think that I would definitely tell myself to focus on being more disciplined and having boundaries
Mm.
because
yeah,
I could have saved myself a whole lot of hurt
That's
yeah.
having
good.
stronger boundaries younger. That's it. But those are only two things I would think I would change or talk to
I got
myself about.
I got a follow up question. With those hurts, what strength came from them?
Mm,
Oh, that's a good one.
mm,
With those hurts, the strength that came from them is being able to pick myself up and dust myself off after experiencing some of those hurts
Hmm.
and being able to find the beauty still in the hurt, the murkiness of the hurt. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because it wasn't all bad.
Right.
It just felt like it was bad in the middle of it. While
Yeah,
you
yeah,
in the
yeah, for
storm, it
sure.
feels like it's worse than it is. But once you come out, it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad. You know,
Right.
that's a good
I've
question.
learned I've learned that, even in, and that's why my answer is some of the worst things in the world that happened, it was beauty that came from it. And it was certain lessons that you only learn from rock bottom.
yep,
Right.
mm,
yep.
Sometimes you have to fall and bump your head to realize, like, okay, this is where it's at. And this is, I used too much strength. I didn't use enough strength. I should have used
Mm-hmm,
more wisdom. I should have went left when I should have went right. But sometimes you have to fail to win.
mm-hmm,
Like
Yeah.
sometimes the loss is not a loss, it's just a lesson.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
And it ain't too many lessons you learn when you win it.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes the
Yeah.
best lessons, sometimes the only lessons you learn is when you lose or you feel like you
mm-hmm.
lose.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because also to add to that, another thing that I learned from those hurts is being able to speak freely from the hurts to be
Mm.
able to help the next person. Because a lot of people,
Right.
we go through our hurts and they're private. We want to keep them to ourselves. That
Hmm.
doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily like it, I don't want to say that's a bad thing, but for me, it's a bad thing because I've learned that my voice is one of my biggest strengths. No matter if
Right.
I'm talking about health, if I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about just anything that I've experienced, I see that when I share, it helps other people and in
Hmm.
tangible ways. Like I can literally see how it helps somebody, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say this. I just want to share this before we move on. You know what you have if you had all sunny days? A desert.
I was gonna say no adversity.
Nothing to grow.
A desert.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nothing grows.
in the
It's
desert.
only a few things that actually grow in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have no rain, we have no obstacles, we have no storms, we have a desert.
Yeah.
And we won't grow.
Absolutely.
You won't grow.
Or will we be able
Absolutely.
to help what's around us grow?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right
That's
now,
good.
Maverick,
That's good.
we
Yeah,
learned
there we
today.
go. Absolutely. Absolutely,
Hmm.
man. That's it.
So
We
to
gotta
kind of
we
spin
have to
off
show
the
more
question,
grace.
yeah,
Hmm?
we do.
We
I
have
was
to
just
show
gonna
more
say to spin
grace.
off the question that
Even
Maverick
for
asked me,
ourselves.
Reggie, what are some hurts that you think you could have
What did you
Say
learn
that one
from the
more time.
hurts?
Say that one more
the
time,
question
Flo.
I was presenting the question to you that he asked to me. What have you learned from your hurts?
Grace. That
Grace.
that
Mm,
that's why I was saying that right behind that. You know what I mean? Is showing grace to self. You know what I'm saying? And you
Hmm.
know,
that's good.
the hurt and pains that I've shown towards other people and caused other people in life, but also the hurt and pains and things that I've caused myself or other people cause. You know what I'm saying? Is showing that grace to myself and grace to them. You know what I'm saying? Instead of
Hmm.
just constantly always wanting to be right. You know what I mean?
And
And
constantly
sometimes, you know what
judging.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know that I'm right? I know that I'm right
Hmm.
and that it can help you or you know what I'm saying, whatever case it may be. But I needed to show more grace in that and allow other people to go through their storms and create through them storms and things like that so that they can get the same picture that maybe that I see that they can't see. So definitely grace for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
find that in
I
our
have a
line of work, working in education, extending
yeah.
grace, particularly to parents, I think that it helps kind of bridge the gap and it helps kind of bond, or for lack of a better word, connect with parents so they can see you as human and not like a teacher who's judging them for
That's
Right.
right.
being the type of parent that they are, And I will use
Hmm.
my words and just say, like, hey, I'm a part of your village. Like, I'm here to help. I don't want to judge you. I don't want you to feel like I'm judging when you come talk to me. Like.
Right. Right. I tell my younger children, because sometimes they get argumentative. I'm like, do you want to be right or do you want to have peace?
Hmm.
Our younger selves
That's
is
right.
always about being right. But do you
Right.
want to
That's right.
you can be right and then what?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
if everything else is chaotic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Me and my 15-year-old son, he's 15 now. And I'm like, you want to be right or you want to have peace? And he really sit there, he like, I want to have peace. And it's okay. You don't always if you know you right, more than likely I'm gonna know you right, and that's all that matters.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But peace is that's the goal.
Right.
It
Yeah.
ain't about being right. It's about having peace.
Hmm.
I've said that a bunch of times, especially with jobs. Especially with jobs. I came to
Hmm.
the point where it's not about the money that you make. It's about the peace of mind you have. At the moment that peace is disrupted, I have to go because making this money and I'm coming home miserable every day, it's not gonna work for me.
Because you can make money
Yep.
anywhere.
Yep.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
You can make money anywhere. But
Peace.
peace is,
Hmm.
man,
Yeah.
Yep.
it's delicate.
If you can make money and have peace at the same time, that's golden. But
You
you
Absolutely.
winning.
know, yeah,
Sometimes you don't get both of them. It's either one or the
this is
two.
true. Yep.
More
You got to
money, more
pick.
problems.
All right. So, what is a childhood memory that holds the most significance to you? We'll start with Reggie on that one. Then we go to Maverick.
Mhm.
Hmm. Graduating from high school. That
Okay.
that was that was big for me because once again I always tell y'all, man, just about my memory is that just being called a dummy all the time. You're dumb. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be shit. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like your uncles and this and that, and you big dummy. And it was always that. Your sister gonna pass you up. You know what I mean? She's a straight
Mm.
A student, and you barely getting by, and this and that. So just for me, it was just to make sure that my sister didn't pass me. You know what I'm saying? I failed the second grade. and
Okay.
everything. So I get to the fifth grade. Well, it was supposed to be in the fifth grade. Supposed to be in the fifth grade. And we're in the hallway. So they said fifth graders on this side, fourth graders over here. So I got in the fifth grade line. And they were like, you ain't in our class. I'm like, but I'm in the fifth grade. They're like, you ain't in our class. But I'm knowing I was in this class over here. And I'm arguing the teachers down in the hallway and stuff like that. I'm in the fifth grade. I'm in the fifth grade. So that sparked an investigation and everything. And they found out like, well, you failed the second grade, son. You know what I'm saying? You ain't in the fifth grade. You're in the fourth grade and everything like that. So I went those years not even knowing that I had failed. And they talked to me about putting me back in my right grade and all of that. But I remember the teacher like, well, we've already this and that. I don't know if you'll be able to, you know what I'm saying, catch up to where they are and this and that. And then, you know, what about your friends? You're going to leave your friends behind. So there was never that encouragement. And
Right.
so when she was like, you don't leave your friends behind, I was like, well, I don't want to leave my friends behind and things like that. So I just stayed back. I just stayed back and just took those opportunities. So yeah, graduating high school for me was the funnest memory for me because you couldn't take that from me. Nobody couldn't
Right.
take that.
You had achieved that. Could nobody? They couldn't argue. Yeah, I get. I get it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
had a sixth grader a couple years ago who I had heard rumors that she was older than most of the kids, but she never said anything about it. So I just didn't bring it up to her. Fast forward to last school year, she was going to our middle school as a seventh grader. My principal that I reported to said, hey, call over to the middle school, talk to that principal, let her know this student needs to be put up in the eighth grade. She was like, you were her teacher last year, speak to her strengths, blah, blah. All I needed was my talking points. I'm like, oh, that's it? I called the principal. I sent her an email. That baby is now in the ninth grade. So she's in the building where I am now. And every day I see her, she come up and hug me and tell me thank you. And I used to tell her, I didn't even know I was going to be able to do that for her, but I used to tell her all the time, if you show up in class, if there's anything I can do to help you, I got you. And I
Mm-hmm.
repeated that to her when she came. She was like, did you? I was like, I did. I was like, but I told you, you show up. I'm going to show up for you, you know?
Yeah.
So now she's in her right grade. She's a ninth grader.
But see, I'm glad I went through that. Like we were just talking about earlier and things like that, things that would you change
Mm-hmm.
anything? No, because
Mm-hmm.
just 2 weeks ago, I've been noticing all school year that they call this one little boy, old man, old man, and he was shut down. So in the class, I said, finally, oh, by the way, I'm the percussion instructor right now.
Okay.
So in the classroom, I'm like, I'm going to assume that you're older than what you're supposed to be in this classroom. And so, you know, they trying to joan. I said, we're not about to joan him. So he was
Mm-hmm.
like, he was hesitant to say. I said, no, be honest. And so he's like, yeah. So this he's saying that he's 13, but he's actually 16, right?
Okay.
And he's back. I said, man, don't be ashamed of that. And I told him, I said, I failed the second grade. And I've been able to make it out of high school. I've been able to make it into college. I've been able to graduate from college. I did this band thing and I have a career. And look, I'm right here now teaching you. So don't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid of that. That was just a setback. You still can make
Yeah.
it in life.
Yeah.
Change the boy whole little thing.
That's good.
That right there might change his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody else was
Mm-hmm.
shitting on him about how old he is and that he don't fail so many grades. But you still can make it, man. It don't matter if you
Right.
fail on grades, you can make it. So I'm glad I
Yeah.
went through that because I wouldn't have been able to talk to that little young man about
Right.
that particular day just 2 weeks ago. You
Mm,
know?
that's good.
Yeah.
Maverick, you up
So
next? I'm thinking about my childhood memory now. Let me think.
so high school. So this is my K-State story. Not a lot of people know this story. So I went to in Cincinnati. It's a school called the School for Creative and Performing Arts. So I was going there, but ultimately I wanted to play basketball. Performing arts at the time didn't have basketball, right? So my parents, they wanted me to go to a school called Aiken. Aiken was my local school. But Aiken was the one of the black schools. Performing arts was not the black school. You had to audition to be in there, things of that nature. So when I went to Aiken, I tried out for the basketball team. I made the basketball team, but the coach pretty much let it be known, hey, I got my roster. So you can be on the team, but you're gonna be at the end. And I don't really that didn't sit well with me, right? So I learned how to play the trombone in the fourth grade. So I've been at performing arts from 4th grade to the 9th grade. So when I get to 10th grade at Aiken, I'm like, well, do y'all got a band? And that was my first introduction to the marching band. They had a marching band. His name was Mr. Mullins, the band director. While I was only at Aiken, Reggie, for 1 quarter, because them kids was acting crazy. But while I was there, they was acting a fool. It was overstimulating because I had never been around that many kids, black kids like that. Like they was on the chain. But while I was there with Mr. Mullins and the marching band, I met a man named Mr. Chambers. In my first quarter, my opening card. So Mr. Mullins was like, hey, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Mr. Chambers. Mr. Chambers came and I had a private audition in the 10th grade, my first. And he changed my life. He changed my life forever.
When you hear Kentucky, everybody immediately think UK or Louisville.
UK.
That's the reason why. Because they're such a big university. That's the reason why.
Well, let's take this pause in this session here. Now I got something for y'all right here.
The Frankenstein.
Wait a minute, what's that?
This is called the Frankenstein. So from time to time, old Red Dog like to roll his own cigars because I like my cigar. So this is one that I wrote, and we call it the Frankenstein. You see how ugly that one is?
Hey,
I thought it was a blunt.
But guess what?
He
smokes well, though. He smokes well.
He definitely rolls ugly ones, but they be good. They be good.
At this point, Maverick, during this, we put some smoke in the air. You have to tell a story about marching band time. You was in marching band somewhere, middle school, high school, college, or beyond. And it could be silly, it could be serious, or it could be one of those bound chicka bound bound. You know what I mean? But you tell us, don't say no names. But if you want to say some names, you can say the name.
No names.
It's on you.
No name. I got a story, and it's an early story, right? So I get to college, I audition, I'm first chair, right? So we was meeting, and it was like, I'm with my friends from Detroit. My brother, my CBs, my CSs, they always put me on game. My people from Detroit, they always put me on game, and I love them to this day. We were just together last week. So we sit at the cab, and they like, y'all gonna do band? And I'm sitting there like, ain't we doing band right now? They like, nah, you gotta do band. And I'm sitting there in my logic, from my perspective, well, I said first chair. Who in the band? How much more in the band can I be? And they sitting there like, nah, you gotta do band. And I'm like, y'all not making no sense. So we had our practice. My head drum major, I ain't gonna say his name, who was also my sayings. He's like, I want to meet with all the freshmen after band practice. And I'm like, okay. So we meet in front of Atwood. And I swear it had been daytime the whole time. But where we meet at is the darkest place on the campus. And I remember him saying, he was telling me, y'all know about my sayings. Y'all know who I'm talking about when they talk like this. This process is just learning about the traditions and history of the band and things of that nature of people that did it, and they laid the foundations for us. And he said it was so eloquent. It was beautiful. From my perspective on this sounds wonderful. This is beautiful. This tradition, I'm like, oh yeah, like HBCU. And I'll never forget, it's parts of the story I'm not going to say because there's some business in there. But I never forget, it said, well, we're going to have our first band business meeting. And I want you to wear your white T-shirt and bring your mouthpiece, not your instrument, just your mouthpiece. And we're going to meet at such and such house. So we walked down there in our caravan, and we got there. And I remember how I felt when I went there. And I remember how I felt when we came back. And we sit in the room. We sit in the room like, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And I've been there with my Detroit fam. They like, we doing this. And I'm like, we doing this? They like, yeah, we doing this. And we did it. And I still to this day we laugh like, hey man, the craziest stuff I ever heard in my life. But you tell these stories, like you saying, even you mentioned middle school, high school, they
Mm-hmm.
grew up in this environment of business band. Like marching band was a business to them. And I'm like, I was in the marching band for 1 quarter in high school, and it wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
we had our little groups and things, but it was they didn't, let's say it like this, they didn't operate, they didn't do business like that at the high school I went to. I was not, I was not enlightened about band business like that. And, but it was a beautiful experience. But I'll tell you, when I went, I was just like, we're going to learn some history. And I came
Band
back like,
business.
I was left the house like, I don't, what was that supposed to happen? Like, is that how business is ran all the time? And they like, yeah, that's welcome to the band business.
Yes. Welcome to the
So
band
so
business.
that makes sense, man. Because I always say, man, the craziest dude that I know is Maverick Powell, because he went from band business to side business to alpha business. Oh, and section business, all back to back. I'm like, boy, you
All back
crazy.
to back.
You crazy. Let's
Yeah.
see, you like being in business, huh?
I didn't know. I didn't know I did. Uh, but I guess I do like being in business. But it's just, man. I learned, in addition to expand it, like, man, it's so many lessons in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much lessons, life lessons. We still talk. Me and my singers talk to this day of, you know, the attributes, life stuff.
Yeah.
You know, being
That's
able
it.
to do more than you think you can do.
You'll think
You
about it.
actually can do more.
You'll
That's
think
right.
about it.
You actually, yeah, like being a master of motivation,
Mhm.
Yes.
even to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
With no business partners,
That's
you
right.
kind of build your own business partners. Like, no, you really can do more
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times
with the right motivation. Yeah,
those things take time to sink in. That's just like regular life, man. Regular life takes time to sink in. You don't get to learn
yeah.
everything right at the age of 1, 2, 3,
Mm-hmm.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Things start slowing down. You start thinking about a little bit more things. You're still going hard though at 30, 31, 32.
Mm-hmm.
It's slowing down. What the heck's going on? Everything starts sinking in. You know, hey, it just takes time for stuff to really sink in. I mean, like, life is life, but you get more
Let me
stuff once you get it.
let me share something else, because it's almost like we having therapy too, because to hear what Reggie's saying about his upbringing is so oblivious to me, because Reggie had this allure at K-State. We didn't go to school at the same time. But when I tell you the things that they, it's a type of thing where the allure, the mirage of him, the legend of him, the aura of him that just carried in the band without him even being there. Like, I heard so much about him, the prestige of him, before I even met him in person. It was just like, who is this person? Like, who is this dude? And
Yep.
then when he showed up, before he said anything, the allure matched. Like the magnitude of his personality. And then when you meet him in real life, it's like, oh, that's him. Nobody had to tell me that was him. It's him. Like, it's just, to think that you came up and you really overcame that to be who you became and who you are, like living legend. Like, and to be a part of that lineage, to be a part of your lineage, both with fraternity and even drum major as his own fraternity, it's like, I'm a part of that lineage. We was the hard-headed drum majors, but we had so much respect and admiration for our predecessors. Like, we really did. We felt ourselves because, that was because of the type of leader that we had. Our band director, Bailey, he was a real, he kind of instilled that in us. But what quietly, I think one day I wish we could all come together where we 3D, like we worship 3D, but I think with us it became we were kind of paired as competition, and I'm like, this ain't competition. Like we are because y'all are. We are because y'all were. We did 3D. Like we did a lot of stuff that they did. We just stood on their shoulders. But it ain't no shoulders to step on if they're not there.
Right.
You know, so it was you know, and of course we was all young, you know, all young, ambitious young men, you know, and I'm like, how we in competition with y'all? Y'all not even marching no more. We only have the opportunity because you know y'all gracefully bowed out. But the last three we was a spitting image of y'all. We just had a remix. You know, we went with our own time, and of course we had a different we had a different band director that was a drum major. He had us going in a different direction, but it was never, you know. And I think me and Mike used to talk about this often, but I'm like, it was never an issue with y'all. It's just, you know how the world is. When certain things come up, what the world do? We match energies. So you feel a way about us, now we feel a way about y'all. And we never got to the core, like, why y'all feel a way about us? And we love y'all. Like, we fans of y'all. We emulated Triple X, 3D. That don't sound similar. Everything that we did was, you know, I remember watching one of our first games. We did 3D. Like, we were so excited to be able to do this move that they did. Because they, you know, and even for you to be there, you know, it all was just a lineage. It was just a pleasure to be a part of, you know, being connected.
You know, you talking about that. You talking about that, man. I remember when I came back to help out with the alumni band on performance and was getting all that together. That was one of the things. It was so mind-boggling to me. It was K-Rex against K-Rex of different eras, and then it was y'all, that 3D and Triple X thing that was beef. I'm like, since when drum majors beef with each other? Why are they even beefing? It was so chaotic of trying to just bring people together because people like, I'm not performing with them. I don't want to be around them. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. It stressed me out so much where my wife was like, why you keep doing this? Why are you doing it? You don't have to do it. You're not getting paid to do it. I said, but that's not who I am. It's not who Reg Anderson is. If I put my name on anything, I got to see it through. But I want to go back to when you was giving me homage, man. I want to say I appreciate that, man. And the reason why I'm that way or that lure was there is because my mind is not caged, but it's caged where it was, right? And what I mean by that, in my neighborhoods, I come from some real hardcore neighborhoods, but literally the block right in front of my neighborhood is Indian Village. It's these beautiful homes and grass cut and beautiful situations going on. And then where I live, that's my grandmother's. Where I live, the same situation was right behind me, which is Grosse Pointe. So you have on this one block, it's just raggedy as hell and just shit, everything's going on. But then right behind you in these neighborhoods, and I will always think like, that's how I understood that there was something more than what I was being shown that I was around. So the way that my mind works is that I don't believe in you can't. I don't believe in the word can't. You know what I'm saying? I believe in I'm going to try it until I can't. So if I think it, then I can do it. So most of the things that I did in college, I had already done in elementary, middle school, and high school.
Right.
But most people in college has never seen it because they don't come from that neighborhood and that upraising how I was raised. You see what I'm saying? They haven't seen it. So to them, it's like, whoa, this dude is doing, this is what I was used to doing.
You've been doing it. Yeah.
If I'm looking around, just say college, I'm going to give a prime example because I was just talking about the numbers. I played the numbers. And this is how you play the numbers in college, right? In college, the ratios might be 5-1. That means there's 5 females to 1 guy on the yard.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that's 5. Well, there's a dude that's out there that ain't gonna holler at the chicks. So I got his 5 too. And then you got those dudes that just can't get down in the bedroom right. So I got his 5 too. So now I'm up to 15. And then you just got those that's just loose. So that's 5 too. That's 20. So take half of 20, that's 10, right? So out of 10, I say take half of that, that's 5, but guaranteed 2 more, that's 7. So it's really 7-1 to me. That's just how I think. You see what I'm saying? Where somebody else is just thinking just one chick. You know what I'm saying? I'm only working on this one. No, I'm working on 7 at the time. That's how I'm thinking. So if you're telling me, okay, I got 7, you got 7, this and that, well, you bring your 7, I got 7, we got 14 up in here. There's 2 of us. We about to party, baby. I got the crib. Let's go.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it was never nothing to cage my mind to say that I can't do something. You know what I mean? I've always marched drum major by myself. I marched drum major by myself, middle school, high school, and then college. So is that function of everybody got 3 drum majors, everybody got 7 drum majors, everybody got 5 drum majors, but it's just me. So I'm ready to challenge anybody. You can't stop me. You see what I'm saying? So let's not say, no, we can't do it if we haven't even tried. Let's try it. Right. Okay, you said we can do this. We don't do it. May sound far-fetched, but let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? No different in this podcast. Man, we talked for weeks before we started up. You know what I mean? Yep. Well, let's do it. Herb's like, let's do it.
Ain't no
let's
weeks.
do it. It's just motivation. Well, I mean, you know, I'm just talking about the hardcore part of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The thought process of it started years ago, but the hardcore part of putting it together and the business part of it, you know what I'm saying? But let's do it. And that's all I ever needed, man. If I have an idea and I can't see it from beginning to end, I usually won't jump in and do nothing. I have to be able to see it from beginning to end, the middle and everything, and know all the steps. I'm going to already think of all the things that can go wrong. I'm going to think all the things go right. But in the end, I know what it's going to end up being. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm going to see it through and everything. It was like our KK Side letters. I was like, man, we should have them KK Side letters, man. Put them, man, it'd be dope. We put them in front of the band and blah, 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 blah. Jay was like, let's do it. That's all I need is somebody to just say, let's do it. Put that battery in my back. Okay, well, how are we going to do this, man? All we need is this plywood. I'll draw it out. Boom, boom, boom. Dre drew it out. Okay, we're going to get this little saw. We're going to cut it out. And then we were thinking like, damn, man, we made these motherfuckers too big. How are we going to be carrying these motherfuckers around? And Jay Black just happened to be over there. He's like, man, that's simple. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but symmetrics. You cut it here. You go in there. Boom, boom. Put the hinge there. Now you can fold it down. We folded it out. That's how the hinges got on there. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not caged in my head with doing anything. And when people see me and hear about my stories and things that I've done and stuff like that, is because in their mind, that couldn't been done. How did he do that? I couldn't do that. No, I don't have no fear of failure. I don't have fear of failure. If I fail, I fail. Fuck it. But at least I tried. So that's why that's why I'm like that, man.
I was gonna ask you, Reggie, to elaborate on how you feel when you hear these positive thing, all these good things being said about you. So I'm glad that you expounded on that because you know,
I ain't gonna bullshit you, man. It feels good to get these flowers on this side of the dirt because for many years I felt underappreciated. You know what I'm saying? I would talk to her and Cool Breeze all the time, man. You know what I mean? And some sessions, some crying sessions. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? This work that I put in, you know what I'm saying? People didn't appreciate it. They don't appreciate me. You know what I'm saying? Or because it was so much that was coming back, people talk about me. Well, he always trying to take control. It was always the negative shit. But they weren't seeing that all I was doing was trying to help. You know what I'm saying? That I want to see our band be successful because I've seen success. I've came from success. I don't like mediocrity. I don't like bullshit. So if I can help it get better, I want to help it get better. But I'm not doing it by myself. I always involve people. I allow this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I want to involve people and I'm going to put people in position. One of my greatest strengths is to put people in position because I know who you are as a person to succeed. You know what I'm saying? That's why I asked you, Fancy, hey, Fancy, you lead with these questions. Your voice is beautiful. The way that you ask these questions is beautiful. I'm a little bit harsher. You know what I mean? Herb, I know Herb is good with this technology thing. That's why Herb is over there on the keyboards. You see what I'm saying? But I know that I know a lot of people. Yeah, but I know a lot of people. I know I can talk to people and get them to come on the podcast. You see what I'm saying? So let's go with our strengths. That's all it is. It's so for years, man, I didn't feel appreciated, and I was just like, damn, man, I put in all that work to help other people and for other people to be happy, and I put myself on the back burner on mostly everything because it was always about the other person making everybody else happy. I keep saying it in these podcasts. The parties that I threw wasn't for me. It was for the band members, for everybody else to have a funky good time.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Right. The women that was coming around, that one for me. Like I said, I wasn't in that back room. You see what I'm saying? That was for them. Right. You know what I mean? The drinking and all that, the food and the get-togethers and all that was for us to be able so that we would be a tight-knit group, a family. That's what I was looking for. You know what I mean? So
those post band kill parties.
Yeah. So to hear somebody like a Maverick, man, and Maverick is one that always give me my flowers. He's always done that. Every time he see me, it's like your little brother. Like my big brother came from prison. Hey, I like you. You know what I mean? Mike Simpson is one of those too. Mike Simpson is another guy. No matter, as soon as he see me, it's on sight. You know what I mean? It's on sight. So man, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
That's what's up.
You know, us dark skinned people gotta stick together.
Yes, y'all do. We love y'all, chocolate brothers.
Absolutely.
On behalf of all the ladies that love chocolate men.
Amen.
I've enjoyed doing these podcasts with y'all though, but I know in the beginning when the opportunity first presented itself, I was very apprehensive, and I was transparent with the guys. I was apprehensive about being put in front of an audience of people who did not know me. I was nervous about how I was going to be received, especially the women, because I tend to have a lot of strife with women. But so far, it's been awesome, you know. And I'm glad that I didn't allow fear to talk me out of it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, you are a staple of this podcast, man. Everybody, when I'm talking to people like, I just love Flo. I love Flo. I love Flo. You know what I'm saying?
I love them for loving me. That's so awesome.
How she brings the questions to people and stuff like that. I love Flo. It's like y'all be funny. Y'all funny as hell. I hear that all like, y'all funny as hell. But Herb need to talk more. That's what we hear all the time.
Worry about me.
Herb talk what he need to talk. He said he like the silent parent, the grandparent that don't say much, but when he say something, he got some gems. That's Herb.
Hey, I have a business on the opposite side of the spectrum. You got to listen to the intro. The intro is the rock of the podcast. What does a rock do? Sit still and handle the business, you know. So as y'all speak,
very quiet.
I'm over here moving words and doing all types of things behind the scenes that we working on. So you know, I don't just sit here. I'm always moving.
That's right. That's right. Hey, y'all ain't gonna see these podcasts on YouTube without her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just leave it to me. We be watching it on my phone.
Yeah. Hey, we still on this story. I got a story. So one time during business and everything, we was at somebody's house. and
I wonder who that was.
Little young guys, man, they just had a situation with their phone, and it just got out of hand. Like every time we gotta have business, we gotta deal with these phone situations, man. Put your phones away, keep all the dirt stuff out your phone, blah blah blah. And we had the business, and there's one guy and everything, little young pup and everything. He steps up, and there's some situations where you know what I'm saying. You challenge him a little bit more. And this person was getting challenged and everything. And then I had to let him know what real true business was, because I had to let him know I'm part of one of the Woe Boys. And that Woe Boy hit him. He went.
I wonder who that was.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
That's
y'all can't tell me, because if they ever come on the podcast, I'll be looking like, was that you?
I wonder who that was.
That's crazy. Then he would say something like that.
Oh man,
That was right.
It was me.
man.
It's fine.
Hey,
It was me. Hey, but I
hey,
saved the day. It was no more business after that.
yeah. There was no more business after
There's no
that.
more business
No
after that.
more business.
I never
That's the way to end the
get
business.
get your fucking stuff out of here. It wasn't no more business.
You know, your
Some
story
meetings have to come to an
that's
end, you know.
battle.
Mhm.
Woke
And I am
was something
look,
else.
and I am a proud member still of the Woebrook. I didn't took us on the tour. I didn't took us to different places.
Okay, that's what's up. Keep it moving, baby. Keep it
I
moving.
kept it going. Cause now I
Woke
get
was something different.
yeah. Cause it got to a part where because of I here we go. Because I carried myself so good in the business, I started getting invited
Uh-huh.
places to be a consultant. Like,
Mm,
no.
okay.
You got to make sure Maverick comes to help consult some business, to vex some people to
Mm-hmm.
make sure they're going to be good participants once the business is given to them.
Mm-hmm.
And and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the torch, but I feel like you definitely, you two Herb, y'all definitely y'all carried the torch and then y'all passed it.
Hey man, my
Y'all
objection
definitely passed it.
Pastor George. I'm not one of the persons that need to see somebody to be kept down. Um,
Hmm.
in any situation. I mean, everything should always be passed to the next person so that stuff can continue on. I don't need my stuff to live like that, uh, or be relevant like that, where I need to be seen all the time. No, this is going to you.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That was the whole point of everything that we do. If you can't pass it, don't do it. Give up the stick.
Mm-hmm. I know we don't went off a lot of subjects, man. Bro, I'm super proud of you, man. I see that you're in the pulpit and everything. What was that change for you? What changed? How did you end up there?
Well, it's the call. I've had the call of my life for as far as I can remember. It just was when you grow up in church. I've seen, my dad's a pastor, my mom's a minister, and I grew up with friends that were preachers. And I'm like, so you want me to volunteer to get scrutinized?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I volunteer to do that? Like, I see how y'all treat those, ministers are dehumanized because they're looked to be something that they're not. They're the human
Mm-hmm.
beings,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so even when I was younger, I would get the call, I would hear the whispers, the prophet would speak over, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So it got to a point um, where I was having I would, for weeks at a time, I would have dreams of just running, and I would wake up exhausted, like I've been running all night. And I remember I was dating somebody at the time, and she was like, "Well, it means you're running from something." I knew exactly what it was. So I'll never
Mm-hmm.
forget the Sunday. Was at my dad's church, and my cousin, she had just had cervical cancer surgery, and I was praying with her. They had altar prayer, everybody go to the front. She couldn't really move, so I went to pray with her. And right after I got done praying with her, it got to the place where God was like, "I'm not taking no for an answer today.
Mm.
I'm not taking no for an answer." So I found myself going up to the altar. I'm crying. In my mind, I was kind of telling my dad, "Hey, I need to talk to you after service." What came
Mm-hmm.
out of my mouth was, "I'm gonna preach."
Mm.
And that was back in 2012, maybe. And I've been preaching ever since. I've spoken down at K-State. I've been to a lot of different places to speak, and I tell people all the time where all the reasons why I didn't want to preach were the reasons why God wanted me to preach. He wanted me to preach because I went to K-State. I didn't just stay in the church. I went outside. I didn't play it in the dirt. I
Hmm.
know the language and I have the experiences and the scars that people have. I've been outside. I did this stuff. I've drunk before. I've been drunk before. I've had a hangover before. I've been high before. So it's a certain vernacular that I can speak to be a bridge to people that are like, hey, I understand that because I've been there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, when I speak and I preach now, people are like, man, I ain't never understand the Bible like that. How you explain it? Like, no, I explain it in a way that I would want to. I guess I explain the Bible in a way that I wish that I would have learned when I was younger. I would
Mm-hmm.
have had a better understanding. It wouldn't have took so long. But sometimes the King James version ain't enough. Sometimes you need some real life, practical. Like, what does that really look like?
Yeah.
You say the Lord is my shepherd. Like, what does that really mean? Ain't nobody got no sheep around here. I live in the city.
Right.
I don't know no shepherds. I don't know no sheep. Like, what does that really mean? So being able to break it down to people and be like, oh, now it builds the relationship, and they have a desire to want to learn. They want to know more. So I've been on that journey now, and it's been a beautiful journey, just learning and teaching and growing. And it's just so much of a big part of my life now.
You ever have a scripture that you've known for years and years come back to you and resonate differently?
Absolutely.
So when you mentioned that the Lord is my shepherd, I grew up learning that scripture. My daddy's a pastor.
Right.
He's a Ghanaian pastor, so they a whole different breed. But I know that scripture frontwards and backwards. But I remember shortly after my divorce, being in my new house at the time and wondering how I was gonna make ends meet with these two babies. And I remember hearing, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want."
That part right there.
End of sentence. And I took it and I wrote it down in my notebook, and then I started to dissect it. And I ended up, this was one of those times where I ended up going live. Remember that one time I went live and you called, like, I don't know what you're going through. It was one of those times. I sat with it for a couple of days and I went live and just started talking. And I remember saying something like, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And it was a song, "The favor of the Lord is upon me. Favor of the Lord is," some song. But in the song, the line says, "In my hands, I have more than enough." And I did the deaf ministry at my church. So hands, more. And I remember listening to the song and going like this and thinking, what? And then I had to remember that's the symbol for more. That's, and so it just kind of took me down this path of remembrance. And I had to be like, why am I tripping? Like, the Lord is my shepherd. In my hands, I have, like, this is what's going to bless me. My hands. I make things, and it really got deep. And I went live on Facebook and was talking. And people was in the comments. They felt whatever message I was trying to deliver, it reached people. But I try to pay attention to when I get messages like that, because I know that it's not just for me. Once again, talking about how I use my words to express and to connect with people. I knew that wasn't just for me in that moment,
Yeah.
That's,
hey, I'm glad we have these conversations, man, because people was like, hey man, y'all gonna be talking about God and stuff on that? Yeah, we might.
Yep.
That's why I want you to be transparent, because I've had these things in my life too growing up. Like the first one I remember is my step grandfather. He was a pastor as well, and he would pray every night, and I would just sit at his door, right? And he was at the bottom of the basement stairs fixing a dryer, and he's singing and praising and stuff, and then he just turns around and look at me, because I'm sitting on the basement stairs at the top. He turned around, look at me, and say, "You gonna be a soldier from God." I didn't know what that meant. I was in elementary at the time. You know what I mean? So fast forward, I get to K-State and everything like that. And they used to have these praying things sometime on the yard. And, it'd just be a big circle and stuff like that, and people holding hand. And I don't even know this young lady. And we holding hands. And when they got finished praying, we all praying and stuff. And she held my hand. She kept holding my hand. And when she finally let go, she said, "You have power in your hand." Didn't know what she was talking about, right? My freshman year, I come in, and another freshman guy, Joseph, he was in the marching band, played tuba and stuff. But he came in, he was biblical. He was straight biblical. And just one day in our room, he was like, saying, "God told me that you gonna preach the word one day." And I'm like, "No, not me, cuz." You know what I mean? Not me.
Right.
And these things just kept coming to me, But it wasn't until I got into my trouble, you know what I mean, and started changing my life, that I realized, like, wait a minute, God has always been there. He's just been waiting on me. But he needed for me to get in that trouble. So, people be like, "Man, you crazy." I'm like, I'm glad I got in that trouble. I'm grateful to get in that trouble. Because if I would have never got in that trouble, I would have never started this journey. And through that journey, I started understanding God, and I started understanding my love for God and his love for me even more. You know what I mean? And through that, I remember asking God, I said, "Okay, wherever you want me to be, I'm going to preach your word. Wherever you want me to be." And he spoke, because God has spoken to me before. right? He spoke to me before, literally spoke to me before. And he said Facebook, because I went on Facebook at the time. And I started the Facebook to start putting out these scriptures. Now, I didn't know how to read scriptures. No, nothing. I didn't know how to read the Bible, none of that. So in the beginning of my journey, I would just put my finger in the Bible, open it up, close my eyes, and put my finger on something and just read it, right? So then I would read it. But I also have a gift of interpretation, and I can interpret what's being said in the Bible. So then I would use it for myself, and then I would post it, which I still do to this day, 11 years later. You know what I mean? Every day. And through that, people have come to me with like, I love your scriptures. I needed to hear that today, or whatever it may be. Or when I called you, like, you all right? Well, I text you all right, Flo? Because I hadn't talked to you in years. And you're like, can I call you? And you know what I'm saying? We pray and we talk and things like that. And then I had a situation where a buddy of mine was like, hey man, you're going to turn people off, you know, talking about God like that and everything. And it almost did turn me off, right? But then I had a mentor as I was going through that, which is have the anointment on him. And he said, what your friend didn't understand is that you was talking behind him. He said, Reg, you don't have to be in the pulpit to be a preacher. You keep doing what you're doing on Facebook. You're preaching now. So I definitely use that as my pulpit. I'm definitely using this, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, because we're getting these band stories, and we're getting these stories of how we grew up in these neighborhoods we come from. And then we get to this place of college and this marching band thing. And then now we're on this side of it. There's growth. There's growth. And it's okay for us to be open, free, and honest, right? And transparent, because these things have become therapy sessions for a lot of people. Somebody just told me that right before I got on with you, man. Like, y'all podcast is like a therapy session. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it. And because it opens up where people say, okay, if Reg can do that, like you've been hearing a lot, Flo, Reg, this, Reg, that. Well, if Reg can stop drinking, I can stop drinking too. If Reg can talk about God, I can talk about God too. It's okay. If Maverick can talk about God, if Maverick can post that he's preaching, it's okay, because I know where Maverick came from. He used to hang with me. He used to do this thing. It's okay to change my life no matter how old I am. That's what this is about in life, man. It's about lifting up our next generation and our people that's with us, because we have so many scars in us and we're holding it in, thinking that we're the only one that went through this shit and that we're the only one that have to hold this. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's for us to put it out there, to know that, to let people know it's going to be okay. It will be okay. Like you was talking about going through them storms. It's going to be okay. It's just hard. You know what I'm saying?
In the middle of it, you can't see that it's going to be okay. You know,
you can't see it. But once you go through it, you're going to be okay. It's going to be.
And sometimes we have to go through storms, not even for us, for somebody else that's watching, like, hey, I need to know it's going to be okay. And I watched you go through it.
Yeah.
It might have been the worst thing in the world to us, but sometimes we go through tribulations, we go through storms because somebody else is watching to see how to go through it. To watch us walk through it.
People are always watching, even when it feels like nobody's watching. Like when I started my I'm always on a weight loss journey, but when I started the last one, it was right after my divorce, and I was learning how to hula hoop. I learned how to hula hoop when I was 41, and I would go live on Facebook and just hula hoop and drop the hoop and hula hoop and drop the hoop. And I remember people in the comments laughing at me. Fast forward 5 years, now they're like, sis, can you give me a hoop? Can you show me how to, what you over there doing? I'm like, you've watched me do it. Yes, I can make you a hula hoop. But I remember you laughing at me, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how to do it. You know,
that's okay.
Because it's like, it was probably funny looking, you know, but that was my way of trying to figure out how to pull my life together, you know. But whether it was funny or not, it drew their attention, you know.
If you can fight past the fear, because the fears will hold us back from everything. If you can fight past the fear, you can get to the other side. And the way that you do that is just having faith as a mustard seed. That's all you need. Just have
faith over fear.
Faith over fear.
And it's okay to have fear, but you have to have your faith superseded.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, they say it in the song and it's in the scripture that says, greater is he that's in me, that's he in the world. Not to saying the tribulation won't be great, but the spirit of the Lord that lives on the inside of me, if you have accepted him into your life, he's greater.
Yes.
The world is great. Storms are great, but he is greater.
Mm-hmm.
He's bigger. He's badder than any tribulation, any trouble that we can go through. He's bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
So
My sister
I
used to
can
quote
go in
that
there with
scripture all the
faith.
time.
I can go through any faith. I can go through any situation. Not to say I won't have fear, because I'll be lying, but my faith is going to surpass it.
Yes.
I'm always going to have more faith than my fear.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, we're going to end it right there, man. Man, that was beautiful right there, bro.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Listen, people that's out there, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and like these podcasts, man. You know what I'm saying? And listen, we need to get paid, man. Go ahead and cash out all that kind of stuff if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Do a little donation and stuff like that. This stuff costs money too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It does cost money. You know what I mean? You know, donation is always welcome. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all watching. Maverick, man, my brother. Triple X. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I love it, man. Thank you, man, for being on this podcast and working with us, man, talking with us.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. It was my pleasure.
Well, love.